So let's start. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matteo Ingaramo. I am the scientific director of this master course. With us, there is also Silvia Ferraris. She's also a professor in the course. Maybe did you already presented yourself, Silvia?
No. We just started.
Okay. So we are both professor in the School of Design of Polytechnic of Milano, and we are both belonging to the design department in Polytechnic of Milano. So we are here to present our proposal of specializing master in industrial design for architecture. That's a quite a peculiar definition because we started by a point of reference that is the architectural culture and its evolution in the last 20, probably 30 years, in which architectural and construction changes a lot, becoming a part of a more complex system that is not only related to managing spaces and creating scenarios of living in a kind of construction box, more or less dimensionally defined. So bigger or smaller, let's say, that can be your house if you want, your personal house or a skyscraper. That approach to architecture changed a lot because of the fact that buildings are not only designed to be, let's say, boxes for our life, or our work, let's say, or both, but they are also a product of an economical activity, of a branding activity, and probably they are part of an efficiency of an activity that is made inside the buildings. Then, in that view, maybe we can go for the next, Silvia, okay? Because we already can we go thank you, and we can see that we are already in a kind of multidisciplinary context in which it's the building that is changing its role, and the competencies that are needed to design a product that is a construction product, that is a part of an economical system and is probably supporting the visual branding, but also the brand identity of any activity that is made inside. That multidisciplinary approach is related also to the fact that if buildings are conceived like that, they are probably they are nearer to a conception that is defining the building like a machine that is has its own life, its own time of construction and functioning, its obsolescence that is shortening day by day more and more, because of that relationship between the building and a construction of value, and not only a construction of a box, let's say. So in this vision, of course, the culture of industrial design goes deeper into the issues that are related to reproduction of value, designing in details parts that are assemblable or disassemblable, for being renewed, for being substituted, or maintained in a building in order to change the building enough to be another building for another business, for another economical value. So in that exception in that idea, we found appropriate to connect. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. We appropriate to connect the two cultures that are in Italy very, very strictly connected, architecture and product design, and what we call industrial design, because we were very, very interested in reproducing the quality of the buildings and their efficiency and their efficacy to support the economical processes. Then, of course, all those buildings are still considered and expected to be qualitative and very, very satisfying in terms of appreciation by the users and in terms of a good user experience when the users are using not only the building but also the machine that is made by parts. As you know, the industrial products are made by parts. So our intention is to consider the building like that. And that is why we usually deal with the design of buildings that are not constructed to be permanent, but constructed to be temporary in order to fix a time of life, a time of life of this building, and to being able to assess and evaluate its performance. Its performance that is not only a quantitative one, so a balance between money and parts or investments and earnings, of course, but is also a matter to be solved of good use of the spaces and the quality of life and working, if you want, inside, like it was in origin, and it is often in the architectural approach to design to the design of buildings. So what happens to the professionals that are going out of this master? They are probably being more able to front the architecture or the design of the part of a building, or both, or let's say even a project management of a building, in considering the fact that this building is not only a manufacture, but is part of a strategy and is strictly connected to a very fast evolving technology. Those are the three pillars of our teaching process, and that we will show to you. And of course, what we want our students to be able to do is to design solutions that are that embed advanced building components and display innovative layout designs. So we expect our students to manage the opportunity of those boundaries, because the boundaries are increasing because of the complexity that that our conception of the building is presenting, of course. But those boundaries or constraints are they are an opportunity to evolve the skills of the designers, of the architects, of the buildings, in a way that they are considering more performative requirements and features of their designed buildings. Okay, so next, please. As I was saying, we divided our teaching structure in three main areas. Strategy, technology, and design culture. Design culture is about understanding not only the expressive or aesthetical quality of the manufactured objects, but also to understand how the complexity of those objects was an opportunity to create new shapes or new visual quality for them, and maybe their usability and the user experience that is connected to them. All the masterpieces of design are are presenting a high quality of those values. And we believe and we hope that our students will be able to design their buildings in the same way that the product designers approach let's say the performances of their objects. So it's a design culture, as I was saying, focused on the reproduction of the quality that could be let's say a positive aspect more to add to your skills, because in international field often buildings that are conceived like an economical enterprise, let's say, or a challenge of those kind are a lot of, and probably they are produced in a number that is more than one. So there are not unique design experience, but they have to be reproduced with the matter of the problem of maintaining a standard quality that in design is normal, but in architecture is quite rare. So second, design strategy. Design strategy means that we are trying to contextualize our teaching program into a framework that is economical, in which our design has to be, let's say, compatible and probably supporting the business. So this fact means that it's not only a matter of calculation and balance, as I was saying, but also a matter of understanding and corresponding to the identity of the business. So that is why we often deal with partners that are on the retail market, and the retail market is so strong that the identity of a flagship store, for instance, or of a headquarter for a team of the America's Cup sailing competition, all those elements are representing an identity, and they are corresponding to a status and probably to a quality of investment. So the design strategy is what the company does when they decide to build a building, and they decide to commit an architect to design for them. So that is why we want you to be more connected to that, and have a design that is more corresponding to those expectations and decisions of the companies. Then design technology. We would like you to explore the innovative technologies and how to deal with the technologies that are more common in the design field. So let's say composites, or let's say special metals, or maybe processes of transforming semi-worked materials or raw materials in order to get what you really want. And our intention is that we want to be, let's say, main actors of the process, and do not expect experts in technologies to modify your design, because we do not own the knowledge about those innovative technologies or those processes that are quite common for, let's say, even furniture designers. They are more skilled than architects in that. Of course, if we're talking about interior designers, that aspect is useful too, because in this case we are talking about outdoor use, and the range of the materials and the solutions of processes, constructions, and so on are wider. It's wider than what is usually considered in the field of interior design. So those are the three pillars, and they are let's say helped by the seminars that are injection of professional or case study culture that would help you to understand what happens in a field of design architecture. Silvia, would you like to add something, Silvia?
Yes, I think it would be just interesting to highlight that this contents of the master comprises as a way of teaching both, lectures, but also design studios. It's where the students will develop a new design, starting from a design brief with the supervision of the teachers, who typically are architects or designers. So they will work in teams, and very often we have an industrial partner who cooperates in this activity, so to make it more real. Even though the brief and the aim of this kind of design studio is always to be very innovative. So that's, let's say, the scope and the approach we have to this kind of activities. And if you see in the graphic on the left, down left, you see that so we have the basic of theoretical 3 areas. Then we have the seminars, which are meeting with professionals and also visits to place. Then we have the design studios. And finally, we have the internship, which is also part of the educational path. And it's a mandatory internship. We usually organize them in our contacts in Milan. And but we also, it's possible to do them also elsewhere. But let's say that's a little bit what students expect. They come to Milan, they really are interested in having opportunities here, and so that's what we usually organize. It lasts 480 hours, and it's held at the end of the educational part of lecture seminars. Just very quickly, that's the draft calendar, just to show that we start first with more theoretical courses, and later on the design studios, that we also call workshop, are introduced as part of the activity, while the internship starts when everything else is finished. The master degree officially lasts 1 year, but there is extra time to graduate. So, and yeah, that's draftly what it is like. We have a website that, just like everyone, of course, that I do invite you to visit if you're interested. You will find the contents of the course, but also you will find some ex-students reports of what they've been doing, and their story of their experience during the master. And I think that might be very useful to have a big picture of what the master is like. Okay. I don't know, we have 20 minutes maybe for the questions. Is that okay?
Yes, I already see some questions on the in the window for questions. Some of them already I answered writing answers. So,
I don't know, it's also worth saying something about the application. Elisa, what do you think?
Yes, sure. Mainly, the application process is already open, and it's going to be open until end of September. Mainly, we ask always not to wait until the very last deadline to apply. And mainly, in order to apply, what you need to do is to go on this link that is also in the admission section of the general website of the master. And mainly there, you will have to fill with your personal data the chart that will open, and you will have to upload your selection documents, that are the CV, motivation letter, a portfolio of projects, and the scanning of your bachelor degree and of your university transcript, and the scanning of your ID card or passport. Mainly, what happens is that after we will receive the application documents, the application process, the selection process will go on with 2 different paths at the same time. You will be asked to take a short entry test. So we will provide you some dates in which you will receive by email a format to fill. And then there is going to be a Skype interview with the master board. And at the same time, your bachelor degree and university transcript will be evaluated by the Politecnico di Milano in order to check if it is recognized by the Italian Ministry of Education. And then after having finished the selection process, meaning both the interview by Skype and having received the evaluation by about your degree, you will receive by email a feedback about the selection mainly.
Okay.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
So maybe I see in the window of the questions some questions. I would like to. I answered some of them in written. Then I have a question here. Good afternoon. I have a bachelor in marketing and I am planning to guide my career to design. Which are the main differences between interior and industrial design, both with a focus in architecture? That's a quite difficult question to answer, but basically, Fabiola, the difference is that interior design is more focused on planning and defining spaces, and industrial design is more related to the material aspects of the objects and their feasibility, realization, and construction. So, of course, in our conceiving of a product, of an industrial product, we cannot design it if we cannot identify its main objective. So, of course, if we are designing a building, we should know about both issues. So how the building is designed, and that what we generally expect the architects that are attending to this course to know and to show. Then we are adding in their skills the capability to realize their expectations in terms of performances. If they were industrial designers, we try to focus more in a team working on their capability to define the quality of the spaces. In your case, that are coming from marketing disciplines, okay, that is, you are in the third pillar of the master. So that one that I was calling strategic. So in which you are already skilled in defining the value chain and how a value is proposed on the market, which are the times, which are the prices, the pricing, and let's say the assessment of the clients or consumers or users in general. So your position is a position that is coherent to this master, but I would like to be to speak frankly to you. You have a gap that is the gap that usually have who doesn't know how to use a software for 3D modeling or architectural design. So that's probably what is missing. So of course you can apply, but I suggest you to attend in parallel to a course that could be our course or any other. It's okay for us about 3D modeling in order to be able to sketch, define, and realize your own design. So, Anonymous, how will the internship be decided for the students?
If you like, I can answer.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay, so we will interview each student to understand what they are looking for, and on the other hand, we will look for opportunities and try to do the best match. But let's say that we ask the students to evaluate carefully all the options that we offer, because already for us, if we offer the internship, we already think it's good and worth for the students. So the students will usually have an interview, and after that they will confirm or not this internship. So it's a process, and the educational office will take care of it with the coordinator of the master.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me say that that we consider the internship like the last step of a learning process. So we we consider that we are trying to choose the best path for you according to the gaps that you have and your skills and your, of course, your qualities. And that will be our parameter of choice, trying to match, as Celia was saying, your personal expectations and our consideration about your skills.
How related is industrial design for architecture and sustainability?
Fully related. Let me say that in all the courses in POLI.design, not this one only, but all of them are they consider sustainability like one of the fundamental requirements for the quality of any kind of design. So sustainability is embedded in the course, is not specified because that it makes part of all the teaching areas, including the workshops. So are Revit and SketchUp good as well as softwares? Let me say that yes, why not? SketchUp and Revit. It's not mandatory that you use a specific software. What we want you to be able is to express yourself and to be able to represent in detail also the construction details and of course dimensions of the design that you are presenting. So those are the mandatory conditions. Any software that allows you to show it and to present it in a proper way are fine.
I can see, sorry, there is another question that just arrived. They just ask, I think we already talked a little bit about it. What is the difference between industrial design for architecture and industrial design, engineering, and innovation?
Wow, that's full difference because actually I'm the director of both, so I know perfectly the difference. Industrial design for architecture is based on the intersection or the cross-sectioning aspects between architectural skills and design skills, and the focus of the product is about buildings. Okay, small, temporary, maybe. Even if they are buildings for expositions, pavilions, or other maybe flagship stores, pop-up stores, and so on. And here it's the strategy of construction business and real estate is about designing parts of the building and is about conceiving architectural quality of temporary buildings. On the other master, that is industrial design, engineering, and innovation, we are more focused on products, industrial products of medium complexity, let's say household appliances, consumer electronics, and there all the aspects of product development are the focus. So conception and development of an industrial product there in industrial design, engineering, and innovation are the focus. Here, it's different. I hope that I was able to explain the difference.
Thank you so much, Professor. There is also another question that I think we already answered typing, but maybe could be useful for other participants. They ask which softwares are required to be skilled at for these masters.
What they are commonly used by our students, they are coming from architectural sector and industrial design sector, so Rhinoceros or yes, SketchUp maybe, or parametric softwares like Creo. They are fine, they are okay. Who is coming from architectural sector could be using Autodesk softwares, even including parametric softwares like Inventor or of course Autodesk. And those are the software that are commonly used by the students. But I already said that we expect the results, not the modeling quality. Okay, so that is not a course in which we are going further in 3D modeling skills, but we are expecting our students to use their skills in order to show their design in class.
Thank you so much. I believe we already briefly talked during the presentation, but maybe we can talk a little bit more about what will be the career expectation for the students who are actually graduating the specializing masters.
You need career expectations. You mean what happens after in terms of job placement and so on? Is that?
Yes.
Okay, so what we expect our students to be after this master is they are more skilled architects, able to front a huge market that is more international than European, of course, more extra UE than European, in which there are big plans of construction of facilities and residential buildings that are designed with a strategy and with huge investments, in which the timing of construction and the timing of the project are very, very important. Then we expect our students to be able to be more skilled in designing temporary artifacts, like for the expos, for expositions, and maybe for let's say emergency situation that is a quite hot topic now. Then who is skilled already in industrial design and in economic disciplines in economics, could be that they are going for a career of like a project manager. That could be. For who is coming from industrial design, more focused disciplines, could be they are product developer, and they are more related to the supply chain, to the quality of materials, to the developing of details, and their feasibility on a large scale or on a small scale. Who is coming from architectural disciplines, to me, could be the three. Could be project manager, could be more skilled and trying to go deeper into detail design and being let's say a product developer, or stay by in its own studio like a professional and have more skills to offer to its own clients. Silvia, vuoi aggiungere qualcosa?
I think it is interesting for the students to think this as a way to specialize and integrate the language they have. So if they are students coming from architecture, they will look in buildings at a different scale and very much at the process. So from the conceivement to the assembly to the use and disassembly. So we speak of the life of the building as if it was a product, which is very common to speak of a life of a product and less of a building, but that's what we look at. And when we think of designers who join this course, they will start to look at things of a different scale and with different time, if we speak of a life again. So each of them has their own bachelor with their own background, but after this master, they will understand better another scale, let's say, and that's the plus, I think, and something they can bring in their job, and they can use to have a larger opportunities. So they may both work in design studios or architecture studios, because they are more multidisciplinary in their competences.
Okay, let me add, Silvia, maybe in order to better understand if they are designer, showing examples could be a good way to understand. Let me say that if you are going to the homepage of the master, you can have a look of some projects. Maybe this picture that Silvia is showing now, it's about the headquarters of America's Cup challenge in Australia that was designed for a new team, a new challenger. And that was a temporary building designed with sustainable and circular economy materials that were designed to stay for 3 years, no more, like a building that being disassembled and maybe reassembled in a different country. So that was an application of a field that seems to be rare, but is not. And architects are always in conflict with that kind of design, and this design is often committed to advertisement agency or marketing consultants, and they are trying to design buildings, and they are involving architects that are not authors of the design, but also part of a process. So that could be. So it could be an example. But let me say that one of the main goal of the master is to give you skills that are corresponding to the very big real estate expansion that is in act all over the world, mainly in Asian countries or in, let's say, in Arabian areas or in South America, in which the buildings and the real estate operations are very, very big, very, very quick, and depending by a reproduction of quality that is going from the pillars to the roof to the furniture that is designed to be inside of the apartments of the offices and are part of a wall that is very, very difficult to manage if you are not skilled in industrial design or in architecture, and you have to deal with both. That is why, in general, those design are managed by big studios, like, let's say, Foster and Partners. They are 400 architects, so they are dealing with the wall issue, and we expect our students to be able to participate to those design, maybe, who knows, in this kind of studios. Okay.
I'm just saying that we added in the chat for the students the link, direct link to the students' journals. If they like to read them, they're hopefully inspiring. Yes,
of course. In the internet site, you can, I think you can have also some video about our alumni. They are alumni. They are already professionals, I think, all around the world. So why not have a look of that in order to have their impression, to get their impression about their experience, their evolution of their skills.
Thank you. I can see there is also a question that arrived in terms of the motivational letter. So they ask in the application if it's like a letter of recommendation or if there are any difference between the two.
The letter is not needed, but is welcome, of course, if it can help us to understand which is your level of skill now, but it's not a part of the selection criteria.
The letter of motivation, if I may add, it's really helping us to understand if what you're expecting from the master is what is master's, if we are matching your requests, okay? Because we are describing the master, the program, and so on. You are looking for something new and right for you, and that's a good way for us to match that, to understand that. Okay, of course there will be an interview and then we will talk about it, but it helps.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. We still have some minutes left for the presentation, so I'm not sure if you actually want to add some other details about the program or something else that you want to share with the participants that are connected with us today.
We see, I'd like to add that we have this part of the master about design culture, and we know that you are interested in coming to Milan. So very much of what we are teaching and transferring is our Italian culture and the culture of Milan, but also the master is in English with the purpose to be global. So for real, we always had students literally from all over the world, and that makes it really a plus. And so at the end, you will have two levels. One, a deeper understanding of us and our culture. And Milan is a very interesting case studies of a new city. It's transforming very much from the point of view of the town, the buildings. And so it's very interesting, but also working in a class that is always international will give you an understanding of phenomena at global level that is also very good for a contemporary curriculum.
Yes, Silvia, thank you. Maybe I would add some examples about the design that we deal with during the two last workshops. One was the brief was about floating houses for a small historical town that is in the center of Italy. Actually, that historical town has an over tourism phenomenon that is due to a movie expo that happens once a year, and they are in front of a very, very small lake that is called the Lake of Bolsena, and this lake is really over touristed, and there is no way to host all the people that are participating. So we deal with the fact that we were designing floating houses that were assembled and disassembled in winter times and reassembled in summer times, just for that expo, and they were managed by the city by its own, and they were designed in a way that were perfectly sustainable, and of course they were recreating a kind of compatible landscape that was coherent to the strict regulations that are on the landscape protection in Italy. And that is about the technology dealing with the historical landscape of Italy, and this was a quite hard challenge. The last year, we were working on a facade that was featuring flagship stores of Gucci, working with a company that is developing those facades and the interior of those flagship stores for a lot of very famous fashion brands. So there was very, very important the understanding of a policy that actually was a sustainable policy. So the facade was produced with high technological or very, very low technological impact, but the requirement was to have technologies that were available all over the world without spending in shipping and in transferring knowledge for building for construction of those buildings. So as you can see, there is a lot of Italianity if you want, but those approaches are also extended to very internationalized situations, like the one that I was mentioning of the itinerant headquarter of the America's Cup situation. The Gucci stores were designed for all over the world, so fronting the different cultures all over the world, and also getting some inspiration by the technology that are used in each country in order to lower the complexity of construction and to fasten the process of construction. And of course, the correspondence to the local culture of architecture. So those are two examples more in order you to understand. Let me say that the floating houses were reconsidered for for the Osaka Expo. Then we were trying to understand what happened with what could happen if they were reproposed in the same way for the Japanese Expo that was planned 2 years after. So they are all designed with a lot of Italianity, or let's say approach that is an holistic approach that is both cultural and technical, but with the ambition to be correspondent to internationalized expectations.